Okay, well, we've got a huge challenge this week. This Stanford team that's just outstanding. They're 23-3 over the last 26 games. Played in the Fiesta Bowl, the Orange Bowl. They're ranked 10th in the nation in scoring defense. They're very smart. They're very physical. They're very disciplined, and it's a huge challenge for us. And I think our guys will be excited to play the game.
What is it different about them that you maybe haven't seen from other teams this year?
A little bit more conventional offensively, more two-back, more huddle, less spread, more power, more lead, more counter, more play action, straight two-back play action, things like that. Defensively, structurally, we've seen the things that they do, but I don't believe I've seen a team that plays with the discipline, toughness, and aggressiveness that these guys play with.
Easier getting the attention of guys that Stanford pulled off that upset?
I don't know that any of the guys even watched it, but I don't know how many of these guys read the papers. I think that they just are looking forward to the challenge. They know that this is a very good football team. I mean, it's pretty common knowledge. I think they're ranked in the top 10. So, when a top 10 team comes to your town or to your stadium, I mean, it better get your attention.
A little bit more comfortable for you and Lou to match up against their offense?
Comfortable in the sense that the vast majority of our experience is playing offenses that are structured this way, but not necessarily comfortable because of the power that they bring it with. Not comfortable in that our defensive players, who are the guys that are out there between the lines, haven't seen it a whole lot. But structurally, I think we have a pretty good idea of how to, at least on paper, defend a team like this. But it's about your players being able to understand it and execute it. That's what's important.
Hey, Jim, David Mora, USA. Good to see you.
You too.
Was there anything you saw Saturday that you were kind of wondering if this team had, or during the season, waiting for this team to show? Was there anything that really went beyond what they've done so far?
No, not really. I feel like all year we've been through, different situations. I think back on our season, and we faced just about every situation you could face and handled it all pretty well. So I've seen us face adversity. I've seen us get up on people and have them come back a little bit and hold them off. Maybe, I don't know if we've played in the rain this year. So have we played in the rain at all? So I guess the rain was different.
Dodged it, Rice, didn't you?
Yeah, I don't think it rained at Rice. Yeah, I don't think it rained. It felt like it was raining. It was so humid.
Would you say this might be the best front seven that you're going to go up against?
Absolutely, yeah. It's the best team we've played by far. I don't think it's even close.
With that front seven, I think Brett was sacked something like 5 times against USC. Is that a concern at all going into this game against that front seven?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, they rush the passer really well. I mean, I think they're one of the top sack teams in the country. So, yeah, it's absolutely a concern. It's something we'll have to put a lot of work into, making sure that we do a good job of protecting him. We do a good job of running routes and getting open on time so he can get the ball out. Brett has to do a good job of understanding where the pressure's coming from and moving in the pocket to avoid the sacks. We want to be very clear that sacks are not a function all the time of your offensive line. It's a function of your team. So we're going to have to play well as an 11 in order to avoid the sacks.
Do they scheme differently attacking the quarterback than SC did?
I mean, they've got some smart kids now, and they can handle a lot. And they're at times a little more exotic than you would typically see at this level.
Is this a
We don't look at it that way. No.
Is there anything, I guess, that you have to say differently to players or anything, or you make sure they're going for it?
Have you ever been on a team? Okay, then you know what I'm talking about. It doesn't matter. We have a game on Saturday. That's all they're thinking about. That's all they care about. These are competitive athletes. They want to win every time they line up. And if they don't, they shouldn't be here.
Getting back to what you were talking about, the sack, is there anything that you saw with Brett this past week? He got sacked quite a few times against SC. Some of them were him scrambling into the pressure.
It was the things I talked about. It was, they've got a good defensive line. They won some battles. We won some, they won some. I think you're right. A couple times, Brett, one of the things that he's doing better, and he did a great job in the fourth quarter. He had a little run there where he got a little bit concerned more about the rush than about keeping his eyes down the field, and I think that's just a function of being inexperienced. Is that the great quarterbacks, as they develop into great quarterbacks, learn how to keep their eyes down the field when the rush is coming and not look at the rush. Brett typically does a good job of that, but being young and being inexperienced, every once in a while his eyes go to the rush instead of down the field like they should be. But at the same time, he does a really good job of getting away from the rush, and avoiding it. So, and then it's, you got to win downfield on time so he can hit his back foot and boom and put the ball where it's supposed to be with confidence. So it's just a function of all those things. They won some battles. Sometimes, like you said, Brett moved into the pressure, and sometimes we didn't win fast enough down the field.
In terms of that, how much have you seen his decision-making improve?
Oh, tremendously. He's really doing a good job with the ball. I think the next step for Brett is to learn when to throw it away a little bit sooner. And I don't think that it's a bad quality to have, to believe that it's never time to concede the play. I'd rather have a guy that you have to teach to concede the play than a guy that you have to teach to stick with the play longer.
Coach, how was it Saturday when you had so many recruits at that game to win that game and be able to have that as a showcase for them?
I think it's big. I think it's big for recruiting, especially in this city. We'll see how much it helps. I mean, you can't just say, okay, we got a big win against a crosstown rival on Saturday, everything's going to be okay. We got to keep going. We spent most of our staff, rather than go out and celebrate and be with our families, spent Saturday night at recruiting dinners, and most of the day Sunday. So it never stops. You can't count on the win to help you. You've got to keep doing the things that have helped you be successful with those kids. But it's good to be able to showcase what your program is becoming.
Jim, has Brett grown a lot as a leader over the course of the year, or did he have that going into the season?
He had it, but he's also grown. You saw it early, the respect that his teammates had for him, and it's because he was a hard worker who was productive. He doesn't talk a lot, so when he says something, there's some significance to it. I think that this team, to a man, has a tremendous amount of respect for Brett. I think he handled being named the starter with a lot of grace, given that it was two seniors that he was chosen over. He was very humble, and I think kids appreciate that. I know that they appreciate it. And then they see his hard work. They see the work he puts in on the practice field. They know that he's watching extra film. They watch him in meetings taking great notes, detailed notes. And then he goes out and produces on Saturday. And so, if you're a hard worker and you're a good player, people are going to follow you.
What are moves you like your team to improve and learn? Is it any harder this week, and what is it you want to take out of this week to go forward now?
Yeah, I don't think it's any harder at all, no. I mean, I think every week, whether you win or you lose, like you said, you're trying to learn. You're trying to to capture those situations that create teaching moments. And you know, there's a lot of things in that game. I mean, you look at the game and you say, oh, big win. But when you break it down play by play, just like every game, there's just so many things that we've got to get better at. And that's what we spent this morning doing with the players, is just dissecting, you know, not taking the emotion out of it. There's, you know, on the coach's tape, there's no commentator, there's no crowd noise. You know, there's just your performance. And so you become very objective about what just happened on that play. So, you know, the things specifically that we need to improve on, number one, we have to do a better job of eliminating big plays defensively. Number two, we have to be better in our kickoff return game. We were not good on Saturday. Number three, we have to do a better job of containing the passer, especially the defense's left. Number four, we have to do a better job when we drop back to pass the ball, of making sure that we have a chance to get it down the field.
Jim, when you began coaching Brett, did you have to coach him up in the work ethic area, or was that there?
It was there. You know, I would say that probably a lot of that is just Brett as a person, and I think that a lot of credit should go to Rick, who spent a year with him. And, you know, Rick's a tremendous quarterback coach, and he knows what it takes to be a great quarterback because he was a great quarterback. So I'm sure that the minute he walked on campus, Rick started talking to him about the type of mindset and work ethic you have to be a great quarterback.
Coach, you mentioned David Wickman for the Seattle.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's a huge blow to him, but for the team, how are you guys going to sort of work through that and think it needs such a big part of the offense?
Well, we've got, you know, you're right. It's a huge blow to him, and it's a blow to our team, and we'll miss him. And, you know, you'd never want to see something like that happen to any of your players. You know, it's a really tough deal for Damian. And, you know, I think he'll have a speedy recovery, and he'll keep a great attitude, and he'll be back with us rolling in the fall next year. But in the meantime, as, you know, cold-hearted as it seems, is we can't spend a whole lot of time, you know, lamenting it. You got to move on. And so, fortunately, we've got guys on this team that are ready to step in and play. You know, Jordan James this week should be healthy again. You know, he's been nursing an ankle, but he felt good coming out of that game. Stephen Manfro should be back and rolling, and he's a pretty good running back. You know, when you move Stephen Manfro into running back, that means that somebody has to pick up the slack at the slot. Well, you know, Devin Fuller's been doing a pretty decent job in there. We're going to get Kenny Walker back this week, so Kenny's going to get time in there. You know, Darius Bell will be back at full speed this week. So you just do it how you got to do it. I mean, you certainly don't worry about it. You just keep rolling.
Damian's the type of guy that it does kind of take a conglomeration of guys to kind of roll things.
Yeah, yeah. The return. Think about the return game. Absolutely. You know what he does in the pass game out of the backfield, or when you flex him out. You know, we go to some of our empty sets, or the things he can do when you hand him the ball in the backfield. So I think that's exactly right. I don't think one guy can replace the things that Damian does. It's going to take more than one. And fortunately, we have those guys. And they'll step up and they'll do a great job.
What would be your opinion of pass interference calls in college comparatively like your experience in the NFL? Are they too tight?
No. You know, it's a completely different animal in college football, because in the pros, after 5 yards, you can't touch them. In college football, you can have your hands on them as long as you're not holding them and grabbing them until the ball is in the air. So I don't think they're any tighter, you know. I like the pass interference rule in college a lot better than I do in the pros. I think the 15-yard penalty, you know, it has less impact on the game than a penalty that could be a 40-yarder. And I think that it's one of the hardest calls to officiate in football. You know, because typically if you're a back judge, you're backpedaling, you know, because it's a down the field throw, and things are happening very fast, and those are two of the best athletes on the field, and you've got to make a snap decision. And I think that they do a good job of officiating. I don't think it's perfect, but I think they overall do a really good job of officiating it.
Instance where offenses are specifically throwing the ball to try to get a PI?
Oh yeah, I think they did it on Saturday. The one that they called on Sheldon in going in the north end zone, our sideline, because he's up and bump and run. You take a one-step fade and you throw it, and he's got his hands on him when the ball comes out of the quarterback's hands. He's doing exactly what he's supposed to do. It's pass interference. I mean, I have a huge issue with that call. I did at the NFL level, I do at this level, but I don't have an answer for it. You know, I mean, by the letter of the rule, it's pass interference. But he's doing exactly what any defensive back does in bump and run is you put your hands on him. So I don't know the answer for it, but I know this. If I was playing a bump and run team, I mean, I wouldn't do this, but I think I would, and they were playing bump and run, I don't know why a team wouldn't take the ball and one step throw a fade on every single play if they're in bump and run, because by the letter of the rule, that's pass interference every time they touch you. So, and no official's going to call it every time, though. So.
Any plans for your birthday?
Yeah, Stanford.
Alternate uniforms or same home tradition?
Just stay tuned. We might even break out something new.
Will they be white?
They will not be white. Maybe part of them will be white. We might go white pants and dark blue jersey, and we don't know. We don't know yet. We've got some options now. We don't ever want to stray too far away from what is traditional UCLA. You know, I know that there might have been some people that didn't like the fact that Southern Cal wore their home jerseys on Saturday, but I thought it was awesome. I thought it was just great tradition. I love the fact that we were in our traditionals, they were in theirs. I think it added to the whole atmosphere. I thought it was really, really neat. We're not going to wear white pants.
I don't think you're the kind of coach who spends a lot of time ranking players on other teams and thinking about a Heisman ballot, but a lot of the quarterbacks that we thought were at the top of the charts have sort of fallen by the wayside, had tough times. Is Brett at a point where he should be considered one of the top quarterbacks in the country?
Not yet. But eventually, if he continues to work how he's worked with the focus that he's had and take to the coaching the way he has and stay healthy and, continue along the path he's on, then I think that he's going to be talked about as a Heisman Trophy contender very, very soon. He's going to be a great player. Matt Barkley's a great player too. I know that. I hope he's not taking too much grief. I mean, that guy, he's a big-time player, big-time player, big time. I respected him, but after being on the field with him and watching him operate, and all the little things that he does, and the way he's able to understand how a defense is trying to attack him, and recognizing coverage, and moving around in the pocket and keeping a play alive and throwing with accuracy, that guy's going to be a star at the next level. I compared him last week to Drew Brees, and I wouldn't back off of that at all.
Where would you have had him on your board?
I'd have wanted him to be my quarterback. Absolutely. Absolutely. That guy's a winner.
Choices on the table, Hundley or Barkley.
Take Brett Hundley.
If Barkley's like Breeze, who's Hundley like?
He's still like Hundley. We good? Okay, thank you.